SMHO Talk Show. I to the ism, H to the ism talk show. You know what it is. Sir Charles.
X.
Razor.
We in the booth in the building one more again. Back like we never left for the good people. We're gonna make it do what it do, right, Max and Razor?
That's right, for sure.
Yeah, so you could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. So tell a friend, because we are live and direct. You got video, you got audio. Yeah, so you see Miss Mac's pretty face. You see me and Razor being handsome. And most importantly, right about now for this part of the show, we have the lovely, the elegant, the legend, the inspiration, none other than Miss Maxine Holland. Miss Maxine, how are you today?
Good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
This is a beautiful day.
Yeah. Now, don't look like that when he gave you that introduction. Sometimes we got to take what's due. And I'm sure you know that what you have given this community of yourself is something to be talked about.
Yeah.
It's something to be honored.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. That's absolutely right. So Miss Maxine is here to do her due diligence, especially when it comes to this commemoration that she has actually been a part of for quite a bit of time now. She's been on the airwaves with us before, Max, as well, talking about this. And it's so it's something that has gotten overlooked for a long time. But it's something that, we as Black people have evolved within as well, as far as sort of knowing the rules, like to this branch of our, of our government. And now it's so beautiful to see Black veterans, Black military kind of now giving back the lessons learned so that our younger ones that are coming in to be servicemen and women, don't get taken advantage of, to be quite honest, the way that we used to. So talking about the commemorating of the African-American military experience, telling our stories. Saturday, October 11th. That's next Saturday at 11 to 3 p.m. at the Carver Rec Center. Brought to you by the Veterans Committee of Central Virginia. You can visit them at vetcomcva.com. But Miss Maxine Holland, once again, thank you for joining us. So give us a little background on this commemoration ceremony, the telling our stories this year. Like where was this derived from? And that good thing.
Okay, thanks, Charles. Let me start by letting you know that I'm the director of the Veterans Committee of Central Virginia. And I want to share our mission. African Americans have participated in every war that the United States has fought, yet they are frequently excluded from the broader narrative. Our mission is to more fully contextualize and honor through education and telling the heretofore untold true stories of the African American participation in the United States military, past and present. This marks our 11th commemoration. It's a
big deal,
Charles. And this year, there will be 22 military exhibitors comprising of the United States colored troops, as an example, and give the history of how the Second Amendment impacted us as Black people. So please come.
All right. So, and who are some of the folks that you have as part of this ceremony too? That's going to be celebrated, or those that's going to be helping you, through the afternoon.
In terms of the exhibitors,
right, in acknowledgments, things like that.
Okay. Well, we have a Major Cecil Thompson as our illustrious MC, and he is just an amazing person. We have Dr. John Booker from the Navy to represent the Navy. Ed Brooks will come in from the Edgemont community, talk about the veterans from there. Mr. Bill Byers Jr. is going to display his father's artifacts and memorabilia from Vietnam, and it's just mind-boggling.
Nice.
And his father passed 2 years ago, but he feels that this exhibit needs to be shown and shared with the community. Miss Ann Carter will come with the Carter family legacy. Miss Pansy Fry. With her husband, you may know Lester Fry was in the Coast Guard. In fact, he's the only African American locally that I know participated in the Coast Guard. Mr. George Grady with the Buffalo Soldiers. Mm-hmm. We have a group of sisters coming down that from Fredericksburg that's going to talk about the different contribution African American females made during the Civil War. Mm-hmm. We have representatives from the Montfort Point Marines from Northern Virginia. DuBois Miller is a dog handler, and he handled dogs while he was in the Army in Vietnam, and he has an amazing exhibit as well. Okay. Frank Walker has a photo gallery of local veterans, beautifully done. It's got to be over 100 people in there now. Mr. Charles White will be coming up from Buckingham County to discuss or share information about the veterans from Buckingham County and those that made headlines, from that area. We have Charles Whitaker that's going to bring in some World War I and II artifacts. Terry Miller from Carver Historical Society out there in Orange County, and Culpeper will be coming. So just to give you an idea of some of the people that will be participating and bringing some very educational exhibit, with them. And as you mentioned before, this kind of thing is left out of the broader narrative. And regardless to what our men and women did in the military, they need to be honored. They need to be recognized.
Absolutely.
And this is my attempt to do that. No, the closest I came to military was the Black Panther Party.
Okay. That's good enough.
And we call that the Black Army. They don't count that, but anyway.
And so talk to me then, because you're the chair of the board, correct? How did that connection happen?
Well, I am coming from a military family. My father and brothers and brother and cousins, and lived in a community where there were a lot of veterans. Mm-hmm. And when I was a student at Hampton in 1972, I started to volunteer at the VA. Okay. And during that time, a lot of people were coming from Vietnam to the VA. And I just shook my head because they were there for a short period of time. So like putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound and sending them out. I didn't see the true caring and consistency in trying to help them adjust to being back into this world that they left. And that was just the beginning. Yeah. Those are some of the things. And I sat down with some veterans back in 2014 and ran this idea by them and suggested that we organize ourselves to do something to bring more attention to what has been going on, with the veterans. Because when I think about it, I still shudder to think that veterans come back and they're on the streets. How can you do that? How can a system trick you into believing that you're doing something for a country, and when you come back after the mission has been completed, you're out on the street? Yeah, you don't have a job. So this is just my attempt to say to those African American veterans, we care. We're going to canonize you. We're not going to let people forget your contributions, whether it's a major thing or a small thing. We want you to know we appreciate your efforts.
Right. Talk about, Charles, if I may, really quick, the concept of, if you see a person in a certain position, then you, whether as a child or as an individual, can then you have the ability to then comprehend the possibility of something like that happening. We often use that when we talk about analogies regarding like teachers and doctors and lawyers and different things like that. But I bring that up to say that I grew up in Greene County. Both parents in the home, pretty good upbringing, but zero like connections with the military. No family members who were military. I didn't see anyone who looked like me, of the same hue, who was military. And so I can remember growing up thinking how abstract, how impossible, how the military just wasn't for. And I was born in the 80s. Was the military wasn't a place for Black people, because I just didn't see it, and it wasn't until I got older and was able to understand the broader scope that I realized that we were present there.
And Max, can I add to that?
Yeah,
Not only some didn't see it, but Miss Maxine, we also hear stories from folks. I'm sure you've experienced some of this and know some, to where it used to be the military isn't for us.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a narrative that you would hear about how when we would get untreated and lesser than because of who we were.
Mm-hmm. Well, that leads me to share this and jog the memory that the military was segregated.
Mm-hmm.
It was not until 1948 that Harry Truman, in his Executive Order 9981, supposedly ended racial segregation in the military, but it really didn't take place until 1950. When they come up with these rules like Brown versus Board, that was a deliberate speed that it never really took place. So it's just another example of they come up with these policies, but they really don't enforce them.
Right.
The military, I'm finding over the years, and you're right. And when I was young, I didn't even think about it. It was not until after I got out of high school that I could really observe and see the pattern that was happening in my community with men on weekends primarily getting together after they were maybe under the influence of some kind of alcohol and talk about the military and recite some of the cadence and talk about some of their experiences over there. So I do remember those stories. But growing up and looking, say, at television, we didn't see Black people in the military. Nor did we see Black people, tell you the truth, in jail. Even the Birdman, the Alcatraz, and all of that. We didn't see Black men in jail, nor did we see Black men in the military doing the army movies, as they would say. When I was growing up, we didn't see that. But there again, I was aware after I got out of high school, but I really got involved in 1972 when I was in Hampton. And I see it this way: better late than never.
There you go.
And when you know better, you can do better.
Amen. Amen. Spot. We are joined by Miss Maxine Holland, talking about the event coming up on next Saturday, commemorating African American military experience, telling our stories. Saturday, October 11th, 11 to 3 at the Carver Rec Center. Is there, I got to ask, is there anything to you that sort of stands out now when it comes to a program such as this, that you really want to acknowledge and hope that people take away from this program? Because I think we totally understand what you're saying as far as, understanding our history and our legacy, but there could be, some folks who say, that they could take pride as well in one day being a part of this committee and wanting to be a serviceman, from our community. So, so for the young people, or maybe the high schoolers even, right? That's right now, because Max and I can share personal experiences about some of our high schoolers that have taken this step. So I'm curious what you really want the takeaways to be for this upcoming generation when they learn about this commemoration.
Well, I taught public education for 26 years, so that's the teacher element in me.
Teach.
And I believe in quality, not necessarily quantity. And I'm certain that people will leave with a better understanding of the participation from African Americans. And that's the whole thing, for people to say, I didn't know that. Now I know that, much better, because it's a learning experience. It is the film. One of the videos will contain some scenes of dead bodies, but it's not all blood and guts. It is a reenactment of what took place, for example, at Normandy. And if you can reflect on that iconic scene of men rushing from the boats on the shores of the beaches at Normandy, you can't see any black people. But this video will let you know the other side. They will correct and challenge that narrative that black men did not participate in Normandy. In fact, African Americans were the 300. I just say the 300, and I don't want to tell the whole thing. I want y'all to come. The 300, the 320 Balloon Barrage Battalion were there first. They were getting it ready for these other people to come, and they made tremendous sacrifices to do that. And then I'm finding that the D-Day battle was one of the worst in terms of fatalities. I mean, hundreds of people were killed. Who do you think had to move those bodies?
That's right.
But those kinds of things are left out of the broader narrative. And if you really want to know the truth, if I mentioned earlier, if you know better, you can do better. And then on top of that, the truth is the salvation for some and a threat to others.
Say so.
But please, where we are in time, which is real time, we need to function with facts to help us separate ourselves from the craziness that's going on. Let us seize the moment and come together and learn about our strength, about our contributions, because there's a force surrounding us that want to remove all of that and go back to you. You didn't do anything. You made no contribution. You don't matter. Well, whenever you have an opportunity to learn about anything that African Americans did to make things, quote, better, end of quote, you need to come out and find. So you can walk. You can, I would say, part the sea of ignorance with grace and honor, because we're no trumps. We are no chumps.
There you go.
We've always been at the top of humanity. But there again, there's a force around us that's trying to convince us that we are less than, and we're not.
Amen.
And although this is to commemorate the African American military experience, if you come, I feel strongly that you will leave with a better understanding of that whole system and how it was used against us and how it was used for us, because I'm finding that a lot of African Americans went into the military not necessarily to celebrate America, but they used the military as a pathway for better employment, as a pathway to say, I am a citizen. I am willing to lay my life on the line for democracy. Hear me, y'all. And it wasn't even offered. You know, that to me has always been mind-boggling, that these men and women were willing to fight for the ideas of freedom and democracy here and abroad. And the government did not even recognize them as being citizens.
Right.
And when they went to these recruiting officers during that time, they were put in segregated units. The word through the entire institution was they were inferior. They were not skillful. They were not intelligent. all of these stereotypes, all of these myths, all of these lies. But before it was over, here I come to save the day.
There
That's
you
the
go.
761st Tank Battalion. There's the Tuskegee Airmen that they talk about.
Yeah.
The Harlem Hellfighters. I could go on. These
Always save
brothers,
the day.
fought hard.
Yeah.
But unless we take the initiative to pull back the curtain of ignorance, a lot of people still will be under the impression that we weren't there.
That's right. Now thank you for that. I was recently at my son's commemoration, his graduation from basic training for the Marines, and they had like 25 soldiers or Marines that were given citizenship because they passed basic training. And from what I heard, like that's a pretty big number, significant, right? But it's one of those things to where there are young men who, while at the same time our government and system is trying to kick a lot of them out, they want to be here and they want to serve and be good citizens within this country. So that really stood out to me. But also the number of Black people who make military a career and make it and become officers. Because one thing that I hear from some of our Black veterans is that it wasn't even offered to them. It was sort of a kept secret. So I'm curious, from your personal standpoint, like, how do you feel? Like, what is the level of pride, like, when you see like our young Black servicemen and women that are climbing the ranks and representing us?
The thing about it is mind-boggling to me still. I don't care how abusive, how exclusive, how neglectful the military has been to our veterans or present day personnel. You're not going to have people talking negative. They still going to show their allegiance to this country. That's what I'm finding. And I reflect on the days I was volunteering at the VA in Hampton, and I go in with my revolutionary rhetoric and talking to those people coming back from Vietnam or whatever war they participated in, and I was just shut down. I was shut down. I was told, you need to be quiet, because you have to understand the brain, the indoctrination and the training that military people go to. It is for life. Absolutely. You saw those, all of those high-ranking officers that the president called in. My whole thing was, why didn't they get up and just turn their back? But they are trained to sit, be silent. This is the chief person in charge of everything, and they listen. But there is a level of commitment and dedication to this country. It is unbelievable. And I can see that. Yeah. And before I forget it, you mentioned that your son was in the Marines.
Yes, ma'am.
Ask him if he knows anything about the Montford Point Marines.
Will do.
Because those brothers were not trained, say, in in California or Paris Island, where they trained. They were given some awful land to develop and build the fort. It was just unbelievable. And that's here recently, they've started to teach young people about the Montford Point Marines. But those brothers paved the way. Ask him to see if he knows. We have someone that's going to be there on Saturday they have an exhibit on the Montford Point Marines.
Okay.
Year before last, we found that a local man was a Montford Point Marine and did not receive his medal, his Congressional Medal of Honor. And that was another project I took on. And finally, after about 3 years, they showed up last April to present him. His family, rather, because he's transited, but his family. But there's so much work still there.
Absolutely.
And you wonder why people coming from the military, you may see them out on the streets talking to themselves, they're trying to mask or deal with the horrors that they experience. So
Absolutely.
if you see a veteran, and let me just say this, I advocate for all veterans. I go the extra mile for African Americans.
There you go, as we should.
But that's how I do. Whatever I do, I'm going to go the extra mile for my people.
Yeah, we with you.
You know,
Right.
I'm going to go. But to see veterans out wandering around, talking to themselves, mumbling to themselves, you know, they're trying to drown their misery in some kind of way.
Right.
And rather than to judge them, we need to uplift them and find a spot so they can deal with the horrors that they experience.
Absolutely.
In there.
Absolutely. Yeah, continue support. Be that support for them. Ms. Max, it's good info. As always,
is.
we expect nothing less from
Right.
Ms. Holland. Always going to be inspirational and educational.
For sure. Thank you. So, we appreciate your time with us. And hopefully, we can get by the event and our members of our listening audience will be sure to get by and not just support this event because, support sounds so frivolous, but go to learn and be educated, right?
And be a little patient because one film, and I've been editing, working with, a former student of mine, and we've been editing. One film is 40 minutes. We do have a brother coming up from Elizabeth City University, Dr. Lateef Tariq, that's going to give a book review of a book entitled American Patriots, the story of blacks in the military from the Revolution to Desert Storm by Gail Buckley. In case you don't know who Gail Buckley, she is the daughter of Lena Horne, the singer Lena Horne. But powerful, very good information, and that'll be about 15 or 20 minutes. But he is the assistant professor of history at Elizabeth City State University in North Carolina. But please do. It's about, I know that the attention span, not only for young people, but most people now with all of the noise around us. But I'm asking for your patience. We may have some water or a snack if you get impatient, but please do. I encourage you to come, not only come, but bring people with you to this educational event.
Yes,
That's it.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you
Thank
as
you,
always.
ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
We hope to have you back soon.
Thank you.